Today, Nicole Fedele will do the presentation. It will be focused on the cross country, more or less. I don't know what she will speak about. She said me that, yeah, we will see what she has. So come here around and we will start within few minutes. Do you all know Nicole Fedele?
No.
No?
No. No.
Do you know where she comes from?
No.
She comes from Italy, but mostly she flies in Slovenia. And last seasons she's doing really well in World Cups, World Championships, and also she's flying a lot cross country. Actually, the big distance flight. I think every year you went in Brazil, huh?
Yeah.
Last season. So I will just give you the mic and speak about your career and the pen you need.
So, welcome to everybody. Ready? Thank you. Great. Yeah, Kasper Gapre. Yeah. I'm a bit excited. I am not used to speak in front of so many people, so excuse me if I will make some mistakes. I hope you will not get too bored, but in that case, just just let me know and I will stop or change argument. If you are drunk, it's better for me. You will not understand much. No, I'm joking. So, tonight I would like to speak about cross-country flying and make a list of some points.
Quiet, please.
I will go quickly through the ones that are quite obvious and I will focus on those that are more important. So, first of all, is the choice of the takeoff. So, according to the flight you want to do, you choose the more appropriate takeoff. In this region, for example, we have a very well located takeoff that is called Sorinca. Maybe somebody of you knows it. It is located in the big mountains, 20 kilometers northeast of Tolmin, and it is facing southeast. And in a very good day, you can really start early in the morning and have all day light at your disposal. So it has a very, very big potential, and from there you can fly 300 kilometers more out and return course. My best flight from there was 280, but I would like to try to do better because I really think that it's possible to do much more in a very good day. Second point is the flight planning. What does this include? Well, checking the weather forecast. And hopefully it will not be always so totally wrong like yesterday. But when I used to fly a lot of cross-country flying, I was checking the weather forecast several times the day before to get a clear idea what the day after was going to be. So it is one of the best points, one of the beginning points for the flight planning. Then now we have a very useful tool at disposal that is called XC Planner. Maybe most of you know it. It is possible to draw your own flight, and so you can decide the type of flight you want to do. Flat triangle, FAI triangle, how long it should be. You can fix the turn points as you prefer, always respecting the sectors. You can activate the airspace map to check if your route is crossing some prohibited areas. And then you simply upload the GPS coordinates on your instrument. You can then access to a very rich database that is xcontext.org, and download all the track logs of one specific area to study the most let's say, the most common and the best routes to follow. Compared to some years ago, this is a very big advantage. So, now we go to the third point, that is the training. So I know that in paragliding we are not used to do any kind of training, but from my point of view, this is not the best approach if you want to reach the best performance. There are several kinds of trainings that you can do: practical, mental, and physical. I will make a few examples of each of them. That is usually what I used to do. As a practical training, I take advantage of the shortest days of the year to explore the areas that I still don't know. So, if, for example, I plan to fly a big flat triangle and I still don't know some parts, I take advantage of the mediocre days to explore these areas. As a mental exercise, I try to visualize the route in my head several times, especially the most difficult parts. You can do this whenever you want. I don't know, while taking a shower or before sleeping. And third is the physical exercise. I train myself at the gym or by doing a lot of hike and fly, especially when the season is over, so from October to February. And don't forget that a good physical condition has a big impact on the mind too. It's very, very important. But there are many other exercises that you can do to improve your skills. I will make a list of some of them. So, practice thermaling to the opposite side of what you normally prefer. This is a must for those who want to fly competition because, as you could see, every day we alternate the turn before the start. Another exercise. Switch off your vario for a while and practice flying and thermaling with no external aid. This will help you to hone your sensitiveness. Set a short task in your usual flying site and try to fly it faster and faster by using the speed bar or different lines or leaving the thermal before reaching the cloud base. You can also do this with some friends of you. This is much more challenging, for sure. Practice to land in small spots. This is very important for the pilots who want to fly cross country because sooner or later you will end up landing in a shitty place. That's pretty sure. More than one time, I guess. Practice ground handling in windy days. Well, lots of times on takeoff I see pilots that make 2-3 attempts before taking off. A good and safe launch before a long ICSI flight increases your self-esteem. Take part in a SIV course at least once per year. to get confident with your wing and acquiring the abilities to recover from unusual configuration. A good balance between the wing and the pilot are very important. Train your observation. For example, in a day with abundant cumulus development, you can practice to discern the ones that are forming from the ones that are decaying, to learn about the cloud life cycle. And get used to watch around you while thermaling or gliding. The sky is full of indicators like birds, other pilots, smokes, clouds, and many other things. I remember when I was flying the world record in Kishada, I was at about 170 kilometers from takeoff, arriving in Nova Russas. It was a blue day, so it was not easy. I was alone, and I was gliding down, down, down. So I was about to bomb out when at 90 degrees I saw a dust devil over a trash field. I was very low, but I decided to go inside because this was my last chance to climb. So I went inside, I started to climb like hell in the middle of the trash, and I remember that the plastic bag got tangled into my lines and stayed with me till kilometer 300. I'm sorry that I don't have a picture because it was really funny. Maybe, yeah, I go last point. I don't know if I write it wrong or practice. See. Practice the centering technique. Obviously, the faster you climb, the longer you can fly. How to do this? So, before you even reach a thermal, you can start building a mental image of it that will help you to center and climb quickly once you get there. Thermals can have different sizes and different structures, and they can also be influenced by the wind. So sometimes it's not always so easy to find immediately the best core. Personally, when I hit a climb, I first try to widen my circles to draw the boundaries of the thermal, and then I recenter it and I find which turn radius gives me the best climb rate. Normally, when I feel the thermal pushing solidly or the vario indicates the strongest lift, I tighten the turn and I dig the wing into the thermal. On the opposite, when the thermal is weak or I have the feeling that a best core is forming nearby, I widen out in the lift and I turn more flat. Can we delete or the thermal in against the thermal rotation will improve climb rates. The triggering impulse determines the rotation. So if we have a valley north-south and the wind is coming from the north, on this side of the valley, the thermal will rotate in this sense. So according to this theory, if we catch this thermal, we should turn to the left. Why? Because the ground speed and the angular velocity are lower, therefore also the sink rate is lower. Actually, personally, I when I eat a thermal, I don't think about all this. It's more something about instinct. So I don't know who is really thinking about this, but somebody is supporting this theory. So it was just a curiosity. Another point, coming back to the list, is the strategy. As you know, to set a world record, the time is a big issue. When I plan a cross-country flight, and a world record in particular, I also set a timetable, which means I have to be at a specific place at a specific time. I can slightly deviate from these times, but basically I try to respect them. Otherwise I'm too late and it makes no sense. For example, in Kishada, when I was arriving, for example, in Magdalena, that is 60 kilometers far from the takeoff, and I was really late, I was landing and so that I could come back not so late and use the day after. So I was trying to land in the biggest cities to have a fast retrieve back and use the day after. So in order to do this, it is important to have a good day, but also to use a good strategy. What does this mean? A good strategy means being able to switch from a conservative flying mode to a race flying mode, and vice versa. This can also occur in the same several times in the same flight. And Kishada is a typical example of that. For example, in a window of 9-10 hours, you may switch 3-4 times your flying mode. So if you don't understand this and you push when you should pull the handbrake, then obviously you will bomb out. As long as you can fly straight, it is much more efficient. Remember that while turning, you fly 50% of the time to the wrong direction. So, for example, if you can fly straight on the ridge, even quite low, it's much more efficient than climbing high and then gliding down. The stall ridge, if you know it, is a quite good example for this. Use the others. Take advantage of the pilots who are flying in front of you or close to you. So steal information with your eyes. This is always a good way to fly. Make a proper use of the speed bar. I could see that some pilots consider the speed bar as an extra accessory, but it's actually an integral part of the paragliding equipment. So you should make a dynamic use of the speed bar, which means you should actively and constantly adjust the amount of speed bar you use during your flight in order to match the movements of the air. In turbulent air, your glider may switch back and pitch back and forth over your head, and you can offset this by using the correct amount of speed bar. At the same time, when you hit a strong thermal, your glider will surge upward, causing it to pitch back behind you. You can counterbalance this thermal surge by pressing on the speed bar. But remember that that your wing is more prone to deflation during accelerated flight. So use it, but in a smart way, not just wooden leg and closed eyes. I mean, just. Fourth point, motivation. The one I lost a bit. So to reach a goal, you must be motivated. And to get motivated, you have to set your goals. Goals can be short term, medium term, and long term. They must be specific, measurable, formulated in a positive way, What does specific means? If you say, for example, I want to become a better pilot, this is not specific. in which way you want to be better, what do you want to improve, what are your weaknesses. So you have to be more specific when you set your goal, your target. Measurable. So if you say, for example, I want to fly long distance, this is not measurable. You have to be more precise. So how far you want to fly, set a specific number, type of flight, when you want to fly it, where. Positive. Positive, because our subconscious mind does not understand negatives. So if you say, for example, I don't want to bomb out, your mind will read this. It will not understand the don't. So it's better to formulate it in a positive way. For example, today I want to fly far. And realistic. Realistic means that a goal must be set according to your skills and to your experience. It must be challenging, of course, but not too. Not too. It must be challenging, but achievable. Achievable, because otherwise you will get frustrated soon. Dealing with fear. Who has no fear? So fear is a part of the game. Normally, one who has no fear, he does not see the danger, so he's not aware of the danger. And this is not positive, of course. A small, reasonable amount of fear helps us to be more active and reactive in front of a potential danger. So, if during your flight you get a feeling of fear, breathe deeply inside your belly 3 times and ask yourself what you are afraid of. Is it a real danger or is it just in your mind? If it is a real danger, for example, big clouds growing or a rotor or an imminent collision with somebody that is flying close to you, you have to find a quick way to escape it and get yourself safe. But if it's just in your mind, well, I noticed that when I spend a lot of hours alone in the air, or I face some stressful moments, I start to have some negative thoughts. These negative thoughts can be of different types. There is a voice inside of you that says, for example, today I will bomb out before reaching the goal. Or, for example, my rivals are better than me. Or, today is the air is too rough, I want to go on land. Or, I cannot cope with this situation. Or even worse, I thought this many times, this sport is not for me. many times. I want to quit. When I land, I will change. You can get rid of this negative voice in your head by using what is called the self-talk and the visualization, of course. How does this work? So, assume a self-comforting posture also during the flight and reassure yourself steadily with some positive and encouraging sentences. Focus on your strengths and think of you in a positive way.